Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Novia Putri Callista. In here, I would like to present about the terms that I have searched for. So, followed by the example of each terms. So, before I'll go with the presentation, I would like to inform you that I will divide it into three parts of terms. So, the first one is the list of terms for export, followed by the list of terms for import, and also the terms that can be used for export and import. So without any further ado, let's get started. So let's talk about the terms for export first. So first one, I have EMC. So it stands for Export Management Company. So it's an intermediary facilitating manufacturers export sales to foreign importers. So for the example of that terms is the technical rules of European Community EMC standard was introduced. And then the second one is LCL, less than container load. So it means that the client goods are not numerous enough to fill a container. So for the example is our freight manager advised that the shipping cost for less than container load or LCL should not be as such. And then the third, we have FCL, that is the same of LCL, full container loads. So it means that the client's goods are transported in a filled and sealed container. So for example is as the fourth and trusted loan agreement together with the previous and started loan agreement were made with the subsidiaries of FCL, which is the substantial shareholders of Shanghai Zhongjun. And then the next one is COO, Certificate of Origin. So it's a document that evidence that the goods in your export shipment were produced, manufactured, or processed in a particular country. So for the example is an exporter shall apply for a replacement for a cancelled or lost certificate of origin within 2 years from its first issuance. And then the fifth is CIF. It stands for Cost, Insurance, and Freight. So where goods have to be delivered from one destination to another through maritime shipping. So for the example is under CIF, the buyer would be at risk since the goods would not be insured while they sit in the container waiting to be loaded on the vessel. And the next is inspection certificate. So a trade document issued by an agency after inspecting the products that are to be exported. So for the example, China Import and Export Commodity Inspection Bureau will issue a veterinary inspection certificate to show that the shipment is in conformity with export standards. And the next is PO or purchase order. So it's an official document issued by the buyer offering or authorizing the purchase of goods from a particular seller at a certain price or within a price range. So for the example is when the purchase order are of the buyer and the sales order of the seller agree, the orders become a contract between the buyer and seller. And then the next one is FOB or free on board. When the seller takes care of all shipping documentation and delivers the goods to the ship. So for the example is the balance of payments figures show both imports and exports as free on board and relate directly to manufactured goods. And then we move to the second part of the terms. So this is the terms that used for import. So the first one, I have temporary storage. So it used to refer to goods imported from a country outside of the EU and placed within a natural. So for the example is under temporary storage, the customs supervision of the goods is ensured as they are stored in an authorized temporary storage facility or at any other place designated or approved and controlled by the customs office where the goods are presented. And then the second one is SSPCP, or in Indonesia we call as Surat Setoran Pabean, Cukai dan Pajak. So it is an abbreviation for custom duty, excise, and tax payment form. So, for example, is SSPGP must be included when paying or depositing customs, excise, and tax online via e-filing. And then the third one, ULD or unit load device. So it's a special device that is used in air transportation to load cargo, baggage, and mail. So for the example is ULD container build-up is considered aircraft reloading. Therefore, one of the main purpose of using aircraft ULD is to allow consignments to be unitized and grouped at the cargo warehouse, hence eliminating greatly the manual loading and unloading of aircraft. So the next one is ACE, Automated Commercial Environment. So the system through which the trade community reports imports and exports, and the government determines admissibility. And then for the example is this document amends the U.S. Custom and Border Protection or CBP regulation to reflect that on 1st November 2015, the Authorized Commercial Environment or ACE will be a CBP authorized electronic data interchange or AEDI system. And the next RLF, Remote Location Filling, is an electronic program that allows an approved custom broker with a valid national permit to electronically transmit data associated. So for the example, RLF is a planned component of the National Custom Automation Program or NCAP authorized by Section 414 of the Tariff Act of 1930. And then we move to the terms that can be used for export and import, which is the last terms that I have been present. So the first one is NW or net weight. So the net weight of an item without packaging. So the example is 1290 gram pack had a net weight of 229.8 gram, about 20% lighter. And then the second one is shipping schedule. So this is the schedule of ship or aircraft departures. So for example, difficult sea ice condition and the consequent unpredictability of shipping schedules will severely limit interest in developing trans-Arctic Ocean container shipping. And then next, ETD or estimate time of departure. So the estimate time of departure of ship or aircraft from the port of loading or airport. So for the example is a vessel leaving from New York will have an estimated time of departure when it is supposed to leave the dock. And then the next one, shipping instruction. So template letters of or orders or instruction for the delivery of goods issued by the shippers to the forwarder for immediate processing from the time the goods are loaded on board until the vessel departs. So, for example, shipping instruction and letters of credit must be issued for the full value of the quantity of the shipment, notwithstanding the load variation in weight of the shipment. And the next, POL or port of loading, the port which is at the place of origin of the goods to be shipped. And then for the example is, by now, you must be aware that since part of loading fills the truck only partially, it's beneficial for transporting goods to different customers. And the next is warehouse. So it is a place where goods are stored without using containers. So for example, in relation to bond warehouse, there are certain forms of licensing whereby bond warehouse may combine shipments of products that are produced locally with products stored in bonded warehouse for export. And the next, dwelling time. So the waiting time for loading and unloading containers, they start when the containers enters the port until it leaves the port or shipping. So for example, waiting time at Tanjung Priok port in May 2022 reached 3.95 days, while in June 2022 it reached 3.11 days, while in the previous month, January 2022, it was only 2.76 days. And then next is freight forwarder. So it's a person or company that organize shipments for individuals or corporation to get goods from the manufacturers or producer to a market, customer, or final point of distribution. So for the example is in the freight transportation by sea, the agent carrier and middleman status of freight forward under the circumstance of freight forwards performing on his own behalf. So I think that's all for me. Thank you for your kind attention. I hope this is will help you to understand export and import better. So wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.